Hi, Srini.
Hi, Sibu.
Nice meeting you. And this is a small podcast that we have started, right? This podcast is more about people who have come from humble background and have a great inspirational story for many of them. I've known you personally for quite some time, and your story has been places of inspiration from me for at many different places. I've talked about you to many people, like how you have come from a very humble background and reached to a level where many of us dream to achieve or dream to reach to that position at some given point in time. Having said that, this is more to bring more relatable stories to our normal audiences in far off places of India whom they can relate to. And these relatable stories can form an inspiration to them, and they can reach out to you for help if need be.
Yeah.
So, wha- I know that you work as in Google as a TPGM, and we work together a lot. So, why don't you tell me something about yourself? What Srini is all about? Where have you been from your childhood, and how you came up to this level?
Yeah.
Let's talk something about you. Like,
Yeah, surely, Sibu. Thanks so much for giving the opportunity. And this is the first time I'm talking about my background and the past and how I came to this place, right? And thanks so much for giving the opportunity. And hopefully, this will be useful for some folks who came from very rural background, where they don't have any facilities per se, and how they can take up challenges, and how they can mold their career, how they can dream about futures.
right.
Maybe something will helpful for few of them. Let me try to give a pinch from my side. Thanks so much for that. So let me start with that. Yeah, myself is Srini. I came from a rural place in Andhra, where it is remotely connected to many of the small towns. So where I did my schooling in the government school, and I'm not a brilliant per se, but more like hardworking person. Always stick to the schedule what is given there. Always talk to the people to see how new things and all. I did my schooling. After that, bit of struggle to get into my PUC, and the family background is economical and didn't allow me to pursue further studies. I took a break because of economic situations, and then I was inspired to be in education side of it. I didn't drop the ball. I continued by fighting with my parents, and somehow I got that PUC done. And after that, I want to do my engineering. Is my dream, because my brothers and friends helped me to mold career into this engineering space, because of the friendship and other factors. Glad that my father helped me to do engineering, and with all his assets used for my studies, and lot of sponsors per se. I want to thank them who sponsored me for my engineering. The aspiration is only thing is I want to finish my engineering and then get into the some decent job. I didn't expect it I will be like this at this moment, but everybody helped me to come to this level. I want to thankful to everyone who helped me throughout my career. So thanks so much, and let's continue.
Yep. So, looking into your background, right? Like I have mostly stayed in rural places till class 6 or something. We see people in rural areas very humble. Are those things that have impacted the way you have looked at life, or the way you have implemented them as you moved ahead in your life? Because there are stories that I relate to still date that I have been with people in the rural areas. Like when you look into the rural life, it's very simple, it's very humble. There are no chaos, there is no hurry. People are helping out each other a lot. So, how has it impacted in your career?
So definitely, the point being from rural area is one thing is you have a lot of challenges. So
Absolutely, yes.
you live in challenges every day to day, right? So until unless you take up the challenges and solve it, it is not easy to live, right? Everyday challenge, because I came from farmers family, where it's not a planned way of getting things right. For if you go to any employee family, right, or business family, you have all liquid in place and you can use that one for daily living things, right? But in a farmer family, always hope.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is brighter, right? Tomorrow you will be brighter. Today it's not good, but you hope for the future, right? always dream about it, right? And then that is helped me, and always live in reality. That is one more thing, right? You are not living in artificial world, always reality. Like one year is completely drought, another is completely like full of light, and but you're not losing your hope. The same I applied in my education and the career as well. One year it will be down for you, another year it will be bright for you. You always hope for the best, right? No, don't go back to the past and criticize, and you always hope for the best. Being in rural place, that helped me to build my attitude and culture. That is that is definitely helped me to take the challenges and do one after another and come to this state.
Awesome. That's a brilliant, brilliant advice for people who are watching us right now. Like, you look forward to the future with always a hope in your mind, because that is the only one thing that can you you can keep with you for your next day. That's a brilliant advice,
Yeah.
actually, Srini. Thanks a lot. Srini, if I have to ask you, like, if an individual wants to know who Srini is, like, what do you do now? What is a day in Srini's life?
Yeah, definitely, Sibo. Uh, my full name is Srini, Srinivasrao Sudhagatani, but it is a long name to pronounce it. So I generally feel like Srini is good enough to call me.
Yes.
Yeah. As I told, I came from a rural place in Andhra. It's called Kakumanu. It's a Guntur district.
Mhm.
I did my engineering in information technology from Andhra University. Precisely, it is Sasiaridi College of Engineering, which is affiliated to Andhra University in 2005. And after that, I moved to Bangalore for job searching, and luckily, I got job in IBM. Is my first company.
Mhm.
I spent 10 years, 10.5 years precisely in IBM, various roles. So after that, I joined Amazon as a career transition, and spent almost 4 years over there, and moved to Oracle cloud infrastructure team, and then 1 year I spent over there. Then I joined Google India Limited, close to 1 year 6 months.
Mhm.
So that is it. And coming to the personal side of it, so I'm married. I have two kids. I came to Bangalore, as I said, 18 years back, and I settled in Bangalore. And this is a short of my family, and my parents live in my hometown. Like I used to go once in a while and take care of the their needs and all.
Got it. So I know what you're in Google. Why don't you tell our audience what do you do in Google? What's your job role? And
Yeah, definitely. So, see, initially I started my career as a developer. I started in ThinkPad research and development. Spent almost 7 years over there, and then moved to cloud division in IBM and spent 3.5 years. So the career transition happened with Amazon, where I joined as a TPM, where I don't have any clue about it, what this role is about. I was playing some roles like lead developer and the solution architect and other roles in the past, but I didn't heard TPM as a role exists in the industry. But luckily, I got placed in Amazon. That time, I also told the interviewers that what is this role about? I don't have any clue about it. But the background, what I played, talking to the customers, talking to the teams, talking to the business, and working with the development team and building the solutions and rolling out the solutions. Essentially, they have taken that into account releasing offer to me as a TPM. Essentially, that is the background. Otherwise, I would have not placed as a TPM in Amazon. Right. So when I joined, I don't understand what this role about for a while, and then talking to the multiple people to understand what essentially is required, and then I mold my own way of doing things in TPM. It is a very broader role per se in industry, very much required in recent past. Every company is looking for these kind of roles. Lately, they understood what the importance of TPM, right? TPM or TPGM or PGM. Will not get into that one, but it's a very important role in organizations that you play. Coming to the Google, what I'm doing right now. So if TPM, if you broadly categorize, right? So I say like four important things I visualize as a TPM. It is not like a complete list. It is just what I build my own framework as a TPM. The first most is technical. As a TPM is technical program manager. So technical is the P0. right? You have to understand the technology, right? You have to understand the team, what they're doing it. You have to understand the product technology, what you are delivering it, right? I'll not get into the deeper of it. You should have a broader knowledge about technical. You don't need to get into the minute details about microservice, how it is built, or internals what is going. If you have time, you can do it. But technically, you have to understand the complete stack, what used to build the systems, right? And then you can play a vital role. That is a number one requirement. The second requirement is you have to be very good in stakeholder management, right? You will be having immediate stakeholders like development team, or you'll be having very indirect stakeholders like the users are using your software, right, or using your product.
Got it.
So in between there are a lot of chains are there, the business, marketing, product, or like legal, privacy, security. So many stakeholders are there.
Yes, yes.
You have to be very good in stakeholder management, right? And the third one is you talk about communication. You have to be very good in written and oral communications, right? You have to deal with upstream systems, you have to deal with downstream systems, you have to deal with sometimes government or legal officials. Your communication should be apt. What is happening? What is coming up? You should publicize your communications in regular fashions, right? Try to remove the assumptions, right? And continuously publish the reports and all will help you. The fourth one is very important one. The process. The process you drive it, right? Because when you want to run a team, when you want to release a product, the process is going to play a vital role.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, yes.
So the process is very important. So you have to understand the process. You have to retrospect the process. You have to redefine the process. You have to give a simple way of dealing with things rather putting a lot of overhead on the system, right? The process. These are the four pillars is very important. That I'm working in Google a day-to-day life. So all four are essential. It's not limited to four. It is a lot more other things are there. But when you cut down the priority, these four are very essentials. In the Google, what I'm doing is I'm dealing support systems where Google Cloud or Google Workspace, people having day-to-day lives into their applications or business processes or some kind of tech issues. They come to us and we build systems to surface relevant information to the customers to resolve the issues by themselves or providing a channel to them to talk to us and bring their voice so that we help them to resolve the issues.
Right. And when we look at the program management, I think many of us could relate because when I was doing engineering, there were kind of, as a IT engineer, or I've done electrical engineering, but in the end, we all end up being software engineer, right? 80% of the people. But when we look at software engineering or any software product, what we look at is there is something called a dev role. And lately, last 12, 13 years that we have seen there is a product management role. But a program manager role is never highlighted in any part of the career. I've done my MBA. Even in that, product management was something that was highlighted. But program manager is something that I feel is very essential, right? It holds the team together, and you have them connecting with products, with other program managers, connect with them because there is interdependency of products that we develop. So, how do you think that? How do you reach to a conclusion that I want to do program management? I want to go through a thought process because I think that will be quite essential for our viewers as well. When we start our career, we mostly start our career thinking that I want to be a developer, I want to go to this place. We don't have something in mind called I want to be a program manager. How do you select that? Because that is the process, right? That how do you think that you want to be a program manager? What are the things that you should do to be a program manager? If you could, highlight something for our viewers, that will be actually
definitely it's a good question. A lot of people not dreamed about this whole exist in the industry. That is a first point.
Yes.
So after they build a career for a 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, when they are transition kind of phase where they want to become a lead or architect or manager or product manager or something is widely available across the industry,
Yes.
right? But the program manager is available only few companies.
Right.
For
right.
example, I worked in Amazon, I worked on OCI, I worked on Google, right? It is widely available, but product-based companies, Microsoft.
Right.
It varies company to company, organization to organization. But we was one point I want to tell, when you want to mold career in program management, so you can start after 2 years of your industry experience.
Mhm.
It's not stopping, right? You just think about like what is your strengths, right? If your strengths is more like good in technical, good in stakeholder management, good in communication, good in processes and refine the processes and all, the technical program manager is apt role. The reason is, when you see the system ecosystem, right? So the many other companies, the engineering manager, a project manager, or somebody will take care of the execution part of it.
Yes.
Mostly the execution part of it is driven by the TPMs. That is their primary role description. You have to define what you want to deliver, when you want to deliver, right? And who is your counterparts, how to make it happen. This is a part is beauty of a technical program manager, right? If you are dreaming about getting into technical program manager role or program manager role, the 4 points I highlighted previously,
Yes.
you look at that 4 points. If your strength is like one of these 4 points or a couple of points, definitely TPM is role for you.
No. Okay.
You start getting things from the experts from industry, and then see that what is essentially you need it. If you're very good in technical and stakeholder management, communication, and process redefinition, definitely this is a role. Think about it, because widely this role is getting popular in industry. Where I have seen 10 years back, maybe Amazon or Google, Apple, maybe having this role. But if you see recent past, every company is creating this role, along
absolutely.
with other roles, essential roles like engineering manager. Because engineering manager is also doing this kind of work, but essentially an expert coming into the field. The expert is taking up these challenges. Delivering is very different than the current system it is. So viewers, if anybody is interested in this role, talk to the people, get the things. The lot material is out there to understand this role. I also already explained the base elements of this role. You can go for it.
Awesome. So many a times in the industry, right, the program manager role is, kind of confused with a Scrum Master or with a senior engineering manager kind of role. And mostly when you look at that, people think that a program manager does most of a Scrum Master role, which is not actually true when you look at it, right? I've seen you work in day out, which is actually not true. And you only realize that when you go into product companies. Still service company, there is a Scrum Master who leads the Scrum team. So um, in that kind of scenario, would you help our viewers to also realize how is the difference between a Scrum Master and a program manager, and what are the biases that are there in these two roles? As in, when I say biases, what I mean is what are the main differences in these two roles?
See, they start with right. There is no clear differentiation. Like these are the set of activities as a program manager you have to do it. These are the set of activities like no others are doing it. It is all your comfortableness in the role that you play. Right. When you grow up in the ladder, you may be more into the defining strategy for the team and the programs for the team. The results coming out of the team or something. When you start the role in the beginning, right, entry level or something in the program management, as a developer, entry level is a software developer.
Yes.
Where they come and do the development from scratch. For program manager, they can take it up Scrum Master role also. It is all like for comfortableness you set up in the team, right? So program manager can do Scrum Master role, provided the fourth element what I told is processes.
Yes.
Right? When your team is not well versed with the Scrum methodology or sprint planning or sprint retrospective or sprint daily stand-ups, being a TPM, being a program manager, you have to enable the team to do the things. in the beginning of journey.
Got it.
Right? So when they well versed with, development team can take a daily stand-ups. Development teams can do the planning. As a TPM, you have to supervise the team. What is your plan in your life cycle? Where you stand? You have to tell them, this is where we are today on the program execution. These are the set of things I'm expecting from the development team down the line, 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Based on that, the team will plan it. How many members in the team, who will take it up, who is expertise in that, right? And they will plan it. Development team can drive the daily stand-ups. What essentially we'll do in the daily stand-ups to understand the progress, what we made yesterday, what we're planning today. Is there any issues? If issues, then bring it to the TPM. TPM is the frontliner in terms of resolving all the upstream, downstream dependencies.
Got it.
Right? TPM will do it. If TPM has a bandwidth, he or she can go and participate in the daily stand-ups. Listen the impediments. Try to provide the solutions.
Got it.
Try to unblock them.